All right, today I'm here with Bradley Alcock, and that's Alcock. Is that how you say your last name, Bradley? Is that
Alcock.
correct?
Yep.
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 So Bradley, he is right now working at trying to get back to the CrossFit Games in the 40 to 44 division. He's been to the games twice already, right? You said one as a team and one as an individual.
Yep.
Which of course is crazy impressive. You know, if you make it to the games right now in your division, actually, there's 20 guys they'll take right now. Is that correct?
They're gonna take top
40.
40
Okay,
this year.
40 guys. Yeah, so he basically has to be the top 40 to make it to the games, of all the guys in the world that do it. And, you know, there's guys literally from everywhere in the world that do these, which is just epic. So Bradley, tell me, you know, what got you, we'll get into like all the craziness you're doing right now. You're definitely talking, you're working at a very high fitness level. What is your history? Have you always been into sports, into fitness, or anything like that? Or is it just you guys as you aged, or how's that work out for you?
Yeah, I've always played sports, baseball, football, tons of basketball, and lifted weights, just kind of bebopped around and just tried several things. And I've always wanted to be like, I always feel like I wanted to be a professional athlete. Like that was the coolest thing ever. And life takes over and you've got bills and stuff like that. So that kind of tips in the way. But at age 30, I was working at a community bank, and a guy was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of CrossFit? I see you go to the gym all the time on your lunch and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I've kind of heard of it. I'm not too sure about it." But he's like, "Well, I know a guy. We just did a loan for him to get started. You should go try it out." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And so I went in and I was hooked. And that sounds so cliche, but it really is. I got hooked from the start, because I didn't feel like I was like ever challenged at the gym. I would just kind of do my thing or whatever, and kind of back and buys and whatever, and you leave, shoot some hoops. um but this one really pushed me to like that edge, and I was like, okay, well, I kind of like that. I didn't like it, but I liked it and I wanted more of it. And so I came back a few more times, and then I talked to the gym owner and I was like, hey, can you write me more stuff outside of the class workout? Like, I want more. Can you write me extra pieces? Did that for about a month, and then he kind of was like, he's like, you're adapting well to this. He's like, let's start training together. And then that's when my world opened up to, CrossFit is a sport. You can be a professional athlete, and there's this thing called the CrossFit Games, and that's where the top athletes get to go. Like, if can do the cool stuff like gymnastics and weightlifting and run fast and do all these cool things, but you can do them generally well, you get to go and celebrate your fitness at this level. And I remember just saying, I want to do that. Like that, I think I can. And so
Mhm.
he was like, all right, buckle in, because we're gonna train a lot and see how far we can go. And we did. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you said the first time you went with as a team.
yeah, they called it the Affiliate Cup. It was in 2016. And went with a great group of folks. And it was interesting because training with a team is so much different than doing, obviously, training by yourself and competing by yourself, because you can only move as fast as your other players, or they can only move as fast as you can. And so it's a lot. I learned it was a lot more communication and timing than it was just your fitness alone. So
Mm.
it was a interesting group. But
So how do you like it? Because now you were competing as just as an individual. Do you feel like, man, I kind of like that team aspect more, or do you feel like it's kind of nice to be able to just be 100% responsible for whatever happens out there on your own?
that's a good question. I loved working out with the team, um, because it was more fun, because you kind of hang, you to work out with your friends. Um, but I will say the individual is more fulfilling, selfishly,
Mm.
because you can really push that red line, or you can really push to see how far you can take your body. And then you are the only one responsible for whether you fail or you succeed, and whether you did what you needed to do during the season or not. It's never anybody else's fault. It really is just on your shoulders. So, and I kind of enjoy that piece, um as an individual. So
Yeah. And you said you're 41 right now.
mhm.
And so you start, how long ago do you think you got about 10 years in you or 12 years in you with CrossFit?
Yeah, so starting when I was 30, so I'm pushing 11 to 11,
Years.
pushing 12 years.
Yeah. And so at age 41 compared to say age 29, 30, 31, are you fitter, stronger, more capable?
Yeah, which it's strange to think. I mean, I was able to snatch 225 3 times earlier this week. And I remember when I first started, I mean, when I first hit my 200-pound snatch, it was like I could never lift more than that. That was felt so heavy. And that was, in my early 30s after doing it for a couple of years. It was like, there's no way I can lift that much. And, it's funny how age is there, but if you eat right and supplement right and work out, not necessarily have to work out as much as I do, but just
Mm-hmm.
generally work out, you can actually get better than you were 20 years ago. I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane because I mean, you got to think most 20-year-olds in college or whatever might not be, I mean, unless they're doing a collegiate sport, are, drinking, having a good time or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it changes. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your so give the people a little bit of rundown of what's a general week schedule for Bradley when it comes to the fitness part of things.
uh, I generally schedule my life around my fitness, even with kids, work, and all that stuff. But I try to be up, 6:30 in the morning or so, and then I eat a bunch of food really quickly because I'm starving always. I work. I get to work from home, so I do work until noon or 1 straight through. And at that point, I take off to the gym, and I spend usually about 4 hours at the gym. Um, Thankfully, my kids are a little older, and one of them's driving, and the other ones they're all pretty self-sufficient, and so I think thanks for that. I thank God for that. But uh, and then after I leave the gym, then it's home, do dishes, whatever. But then I'm stretching or I'm taking a hot Epsom salt bath or using my Normatec legs, just trying to get recovered so that I could go and do that again the next day and the next day and the next day. And um, it's kind of weird because I feel like if I was 20, I would work out 7 days a week. I'd work out every day. And I work out 6 days right now with a light recovery day on Thursday. And sometimes I'll do a light recovery on Sunday, but it's kind of a weird addiction of I'd like to see the progress that I can make um in my body and my performance. And I just feel like the more time I can put in here and then recover, it just
Mm-hmm.
allows me to take that next level.
Yeah. So you said 1 day a week. Are you just literally doing nothing, or are you going for a long walk, jog, or are you literally just you take 1 day a week? They make sure you're just like completely nothing's going on for your body.
Usually on Sunday, I will walk around and do things. I'll move, but at a very low pace, because I am 41. I got to take care of my shoulders and my knees, um, just because we do train a lot, and we don't shy away from heavy weights, and we don't shy away from lots of volume. So I really want to make sure that I can stay. I train with some real great athletes, young athletes. They were collegiate athletes. And so to try to hang with them, I do have to do everything I can to take care of my body. So Sunday is usually a little bit of a move day. And then on Thursday, my recovery day, I'll sit on the bike for about 45 minutes to an hour and just sweat at like a zone 2 low, turn on a movie and stretch so that I feel fresh to finish out Friday and Saturday.
Got it. So when you wake up Monday morning, are you thinking? Would you say like 90% of the time you're like, man, I can't wait to go get to my workout at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock kind of thing?
Oh yeah. Like that's people are like, oh, Mondays. I'm like, I love Mondays. I can't wait for Monday to come because after that day, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like I just like a cage tiger. It's like I'm just excited to get back in the gym, train with everybody. And um it's strange. And I don't know if a lot of people are this way, but this competition piece, like right now, like semifinals and all stuff, like I don't necessarily love it. I love to train. I
Mm.
love the the guys that I work out with, and I love to be in the gym. And it's almost like I get to hang out with like my friends and just like do fitness And so like more than anything, I mean, actually I competed at Wadapalooza and I was like, oh, this is, oh, you know, like I want to compete, but it's like, this is not as fun as, I wish I could just go back to the gym and just train with my friends.
Mhm.
So,
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I love that word. I had interviewed Cheryl Brost a while ago, who's been in the CrossFit Games a number of times in the 50. She's in the 50 plus division now, but she kept on using that word train too. You know, it's like I'm not going to the gym to work out or go exercise, even
mhm.
though that's what's happening. But always saying that she goes to train, she goes to train, she goes to train, because it what you do in the gym, especially for your style, it's like has so many ramifications for the rest of life, not only
Yeah.
physically but even mentally, emotionally. It's just like, do you find that your confidence level, that your well-being is higher, um having been doing what you're doing and getting seeing your fitness just escalate?
100%. Yeah. I think that everything that I do in the gym rolls into my life. The way I make decisions, the way I approach certain scenarios, you know, because we get stressed in life outside of the gym. And when you're stressing yourself in the gym, you know, it's like you're subconsciously or side mentally like preparing yourself for like those stressors outside of the gym. So when you handle them, you're like, it's fine. You do this. Cause like when you're in the middle of a nasty workout and you're like, man, I wish this was done or with, but you're stuck and you have to figure it out. And I like to be able to figure that out in the moment. And then in life, when you're in that same stressor or whatever, you kind of in the middle of it and you're like, all right, well, what do I do when I work out? I figure it out. And it's like, well, I do this or do that. And then you just kind of start planning and then it's not as bad.
That's good. That's super good. So did you say you do watch your nutrition beyond just
Yeah,
showing up
yeah.
to gym, busting yourself 6 days a week?
Yeah, yeah. I I know what I put in my body. I try to avoid, I don't eat out very often. And if I do, I like to eat pizza. It's my favorite. But I eat like a local place that like makes their own dough and stuff like that. But outside of that, I eat the same things mostly every day. I wake up and I eat my breakfast. You know, I supplement with elite fuel, you know, the goat whey and creatine, of course. And you know, I eat eggs and I stay away from seed oils. I stay away from you know, anything deep fried. So yeah, I think that uh, just it really leads and allows me to continue to do what I want to do. And so I try to not look at food as um like a, I don't know if you want to call it like a treat. No, I think of it like this is what gives me the fuel to do what I do, and that's what makes me happy.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like this. You want to put power into you. You don't want to put something that's gonna
Yeah.
kind of bog you down or anything. And so, do you do the same thing with like your sleep patterns? Are you pretty consistent with like when you go to bed, when you get up, that kind of thing, or is that something you don't put much energy?
I I'm pretty consistent with when I go to bed and when I wake up, but to be honest with you, I don't sleep the best. And this is strange because I know some people can sleep really well. I've never really slept really well. Um, but you know, if I can get 4 to 6 hours of good sleep, I feel fine. Like I think some people tick differently than others. Some need more sleep than others, and some need less. And I just think that I just need less than other people do because I told people I was like, yeah, I sleep sometimes 4 hours a night. And like, how are you even existing? Or you know, I'm so tired, you know, whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Like that's what I do. That's what my body
Yeah.
does. Like, and you know, and I stretch before bed, or I take a hot bath before bed, and so I try to relax, and so I don't think it's anything outside of just that's what my body works.
And is your over the years, do you find that your body's adapted fine to the workload? I mean, if you think about like the volume you're doing right now, or
Mm.
maybe leading up to the semifinals versus the volume you were doing when you're 30, 31, is that quite a bit different, or is it about the same?
It's about the same, and maybe even a little bit more. I mean, and you know, I try to be. It's funny because um, I do have a tendency to overtrain, and so, but I do have good people around me that remind me to, you know, take it easy. because again, I love the training piece and but you know, I don't know. I feel fine. Like I feel
Yeah.
great. Like I could do this forever.
Mm.
It's weird.
No, that's awesome. That's, I mean, that's how I think that's how you want to be when it comes to fitness, is that you could, or
Yeah.
if you're trying to do something at a professional level, especially something that's so, it is neurally and physically highly challenging. It's fortunate adaptation is to happen over and over and over and over and over and over again, which can be quite taxing. But if you can find, man, like I love doing this. This is enjoyable. Can't wait to do it
Mhm.
again. That really takes down the level of taxing, especially on the nervous system, because you're just pumping out endorphins like crazy.
Yeah.
So right now, basically, is your idea to so hopefully you make the CrossFit Games this year. That'd be awesome. Where
Yep.
were you coming in the semifinals? If 40 guys could go to the games, what number were you coming in?
So in the open, I finished 10th in the world overall. And then in quarterfinals, I finished 12th in the world overall. And
Nice.
so, yeah, um, I hope that trend keeps going. You know, I
Yeah,
can I'd like to be top 10 going to the games would be the goal.
that'd be super. And when you competed at the games previously as an individual, was that like as far as this, did you feel like stressed out, or feel like, man, I'm kind of like tightening up on things, or you feel like you're able to just literally go out there and enjoy showing off what a 40-year-old body can do, essentially, or a 35-year-old body when at that point?
Yeah, I think leading into that season, I remember right leading up to the games, I did start to feel a little burnt out. And I think that was probably I think just stress on myself of like wanting to perform and but it you know that it happens, you know, when you push yourself so far, you know, that's why I think you've got to have good people around you and you know you really in and say okay, maybe take a couple days off. So in at the games though, obviously there's the stress of, you know, you want to do well. And when I'm not a very big guy, I'm 5'8", 175. When you show up and everybody else is bigger than you kind of start going, do I belong here? Like, wait a minute. But you know, I held my own and did pretty good. And I look back and I just was so thankful I got the opportunity to play on a field with the fittest people in the world. And that's just, I think that alone is just cool.
Yeah.
And that I was one of them. Sometimes I don't feel like it, but like I just, if I get to go play with them in the same sandbox, then yeah, cool.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that 35 to 39 division it might as well just be like the open division. I mean, that's just the level of fitness there is just completely ridiculous. I mean, it keeps
Yeah.
just happening with each passing year as guys jump to the next division. It's like, oh geez, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Even to think I was looking at the 60 to 64 division, like their snatch weight was 135, what they finished with. It's like, man, I
Mhm.
remember when my dad first started, it probably would have been like 95 what they would have finished with. And now finishing
Yeah.
with 35. It's just wild. Oh,
What's the next 10 years going to look like? I
I
mean,
know.
the human performance advancement, it's just, yeah, because I mean, I think there was something I saw the other day and it was like, it was unheard of when Rich Froning did 50-foot handstand unbroken at the games. And now you're having to walk around obstacles and walk up on top of things and walk over things and you know go several hundred feet. And so it's like, what's next? What's the next five
Yeah.
years look like? What's the next 10 years look like?
No, I think that's one of the awesome things of having people like you, Bradley, just going for it. Is it just keeps opening up the eyes of what's capable, what's possible. Unfortunately, for guys like you, it means there's guys coming up that are going to be 40 that are going to do just things that are just completely mind-boggling. So I think most records you could say will just kind of keep on toppling year
Mhm.
after year. But man, it's what would you say for the person maybe that is 40? Say you run into a guy 40, just hanging out, talking about, man, like to get fitter, like to get rid of his beer belly or these kind of things. Is there anything that you you suggest, or is there a particular phrase or anything, any kind of propaganda you put out there to help these guys see, hey, there's other ways of going about things versus just kind of like slowly dwindling away until retirement?
Absolutely. You don't have to make it complicated. And I say that because like you could go and pick up a sandbag and just pick it up 50 times. That's it. That's your workout. Or you just fall down and get up 50 times. That's 50 burpees. I mean, you don't have to overcomplicate it, because it's easy to look at you walking to a CrossFit gym, or I mean, I'm sitting in my home gym in my garage right now, and I look around and I see an Echo bike and C2 and a runner and a GHD and a rig, and I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of overwhelmed. But sometimes it's as easy as like, I'm going to sit on my bike for 10 minutes and then I'm going to go pick that bag up and I'm going to put it down, and that's it. So, I mean, don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Just move. And I've always said this to anybody that will listen, that and I've read this. I got it from a book. I didn't make this up by any means. It came from Mark Manson. He has a couple of really good books, but action creates motivation, not the other way around. So people will sit and say, "Oh, I'm just not motivated." And it's like, if you're not motivated, just move. Just go get in your car and drive somewhere. Go get a coffee. By the time you get back, you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm kind of moving now, and then just go for a walk. Go do anything that creates action. And it's surprising how quickly you can feed off of that as compared to waiting for motivation to happen.
No, that's super good. Yeah. Action leads to that motivation. That's a good one. What was the name of that author?
Mark Manson.
All right, man. I'll put that one down. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Bradley, so anything else you wanted to mention? Any other thoughts from years of fitness wisdom?
I don't know if there's a lot of wisdom in there, but just one, I just wanted to say thank you, because I have worked with you guys now for, I want to say 8 to 10 months, working with your supplements, and I'm an ambassador for you guys. And I've got people who, I just had one guy literally a week ago. He's like, I'm going to try the goat way. And he's like, and I scared. And I was like, I'm telling you, it won't mess with your gut. And he was like, okay, I'll try it. He did it, and he texted me. He was like, I've been on for 3 or 4 days. He's like, it doesn't mess with my gut. And I was like, I told you, because I can't take whey protein. I've tried for years, and I always was gassy, and I just felt terrible.
Wow.
And I take you guys goat whey, and I'm just like, I tell anybody who will listen, that stuff is, that's where it's at. And, I'm a firm believer of that. And I got a gentleman on taking the creatine for the first time ever. And so it's just, love your products. I love that they're natural. I love that there are no bad stuff in them. And so I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate working with you guys.
Man, Brad, that's awesome. Thanks a lot, boss. That's super. That's super cool.
Yeah.
All right. So be watching for Bradley. I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna turn through, right, make it to the CrossFit Games. Super pumped about that. Either way, though, man, you are your inspiration, Bradley. Putting it out like you're putting it out and showing us a way at 41.
Thank you.